Welcome to another episode of Talking College Football with JJ Kitchen. Of course, I'm your host, JJ Kitchen. Well, it was certainly not the result that Pitt fans wanted yesterday, to say the least. Obviously, the game did not go the way we wanted. Was a hell of an atmosphere. Was honestly proud as hell of Pitt fans. Everyone that showed up. It was a loud and raucous atmosphere. College game day was truly, incredible. It was something really incredible to witness. A lot of fun. A really good time. But overall, the game did not perform the way we wanted it to, and it really went in the wrong direction. It's pretty crazy. The first drive of the game, you thought you were going to see a lot of good stuff in this game, but ends up not going Pitt's way. Pitt loses this game to Notre Dame 37-15. The 15 points kind of not indicative of what really the game was, more, 37-7 at that point. But overall, we're going to be breaking down the game here. We'll be looking more at it. Obviously, Eric from the Bird Cave is here tonight. We'll go more into that. But obviously, you guys, first up, the show is sponsored by Colonial Beer, located at 4986 Library Road in Bethel Park, PA, 15102. Tremendous people, small business owners, but more importantly, owned by two great Pitt men. Bill and Alan are truly the best. Whenever you get to go in there and walk in and talk to them, talk them about Pitt football, talk to them anything about life. Tremendous people and great customer service. At any time you can help out a small business in Pittsburgh, that's always a bonus. Again, Colonial Beer, located 4986 Library Road in Bethel Park, PA, 15102. Show is also sponsored by Thompson Law Group with Brian Thompson, an attorney on your side. Again, call them today at 724-799-8404 or visit them at thompsonattorney.com. Brian Thompson comes from a great family, has a great family, and does a lot of great work in the community. And one thing that's great about Brian, unlike the larger law firms, he cares about you, the individual, in your particular case. He'll guide you through the process from beginning to end to make sure you get the results that you need. And if he doesn't have the answers for you, he'll be able to still guide you through the process and put you in front of the right people to get the answers that you need. Again, Thompson Law Group with Brian Thompson, an attorney on your side. Call them today at 724-799-8404 or visit them at thompsonattorney.com. Last but not least, the K Collection, a coffee brand by Austin Kitchen at www.thekingscraft.com. Again, the AK Espresso here. The AK Espresso batch is preferably my favorite. I've got a bag here at the house and then a bag in my office. Make sure it's truly one of the best. You just got to have a cup of this in the morning. You're good to go. If it can fuel a professional athlete, it can certainly fuel me and you. Austin Kitchen, hometown hero out of Mount Lebanon High School, Coastal Carolina, shot to clear, national champion, and of course, in the Seattle Mariners organization. Go get your bag today at the K Collection, the coffee brand by Austin Kitchen at www.thekingscraft.com. And then we're on to the stage now. My guest, Eric from the Bird Cave. If you've not done so, make sure tonight or even right now you head over and you subscribe to his show, Truly the Best, especially when it comes to Steelers talk. Brings you the best of the best, but more importantly, straightforward talks, no clickbait. That's what makes Eric truly the best. Eric, you look at this game yesterday, a lot of things went wrong. The game, particularly, I think you look at the defense, you really went into halftime. The defense only gave up 14 points, but really the offense really struggled to get going. And, certainly had a number of different conversations on X after the game. WVU fans, which, they were in our comment section the entire week, which was pretty crazy. I thought they were on a bye week last week. They actually lost to Arizona State last week. And then Penn State people in the comment section, which is pretty crazy to think about. But then again, they got their first win against Michigan State, a winless Big Ten team in Michigan State. But it really led to a great atmosphere, at Acrisure Stadium. It was a great day, but the Pitt team did not show up yesterday. Eric, your initial thoughts of Pitt's 37-15 loss yesterday to the Fighting Irish?
So from the stands, it looked, pretty bad. There's no doubt. I went back and I watched the game, and if we get through some technical issues and we're able to show some of the film and stuff that I found, I think people will see what I'm talking about. However, I was very impressed with the Pitt defense for about 90% of the game.
Same here.
Listen, Jeremiah,
yeah.
Jeremiah Love. I was watching Green Bay. Their highlights were on the TV up here. That outside of that one play, which he makes those type of plays. That's why I said he's the best running back in college football. He didn't do much.
Yeah.
So I was very impressed with with the guys. He had 147 yards rushing, take away 56 of those on one run. He had 22 carries for 91 yards.
Yeah.
I mean,
what more could you want?
One play, right? That's what he does.
Yeah.
Malachi told him the 0 with the big one-handed catch and the touchdown.
Tremendous catch on his end.
Hopefully he's back in that stadium next year. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
But there was a lot of missed opportunities, especially early for the offense. And you're right. And it was they got beat up front. At the beginning, the first drive was pretty good, but then they started getting beat up front. They made some good adjustments, talking about Notre Dame. And listen, the better team yesterday won. I'm not going to sugarcoat it.
Mm-hmm.
Not going to sugarcoat. The better team won. And like I said, it was the toughest of the 3 games they had in this 3-game stretch. I said, in my opinion, they were one of the 3 best teams in the country, and I think they proved it. That's not to say Pitt's that far off, because they did a lot of good things. It didn't really show up cumulatively on the game. But hey, here's what it is. Moving on. We're on to Georgia Tech.
I agree. And I think that when I watched the tape yesterday, this was really the first team. Pitt's now 7-3 on the season. Still 2 games remaining against Georgia Tech and Miami. Obviously, Pitt is still in control of its own destiny in terms of winning the ACC championship and getting to Charlotte. But yesterday was really the first game that I watched all year that, out of the 3 losses, Pitt did a lot of bad things against West Virginia, blew a 10-point lead they should have won. They blew a lead against Louisville. That's a game they should have won. Yesterday was a day that I looked at and said, okay, yeah, Notre Dame was the much better football team, and they won that game. And I think that even I tweeted out that they really proved themselves to be a top 10, top 5 team, in my honest opinion. I think, to your point, Jeremiah Love didn't do anything crazy. I mean, he had less than 90 rushing yards besides that one run. But overall, he's a special back still. I think, when you look at the way he runs, I mean, to your point, he's a damn good running back. I think he should be in New York coming at the end of the year. I think he's that good. And I think we'll talk more about it. Hopefully the videos can load. I've had some issues with the Twitter account recently today and loading videos. So hopefully we can get to it because there's some great tape to look at. But overall, when you look technically, you look at Notre Dame, I thought technically sound up front. Their blocking scheme is truly incredible. Joe Rudolph, the offensive line coach from the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, obviously used to be on the Pitt staff under Paul Christ. I mean, anywhere he's been, Wisconsin, Virginia Tech, Pitt, back at Wisconsin, now at Notre Dame. I mean, the guy's been absolutely phenomenal. And you look at the major differences of what their blocking schemes look like, what their run game looks like. It's a much different than ours. And I think it's very noticeable. To get to some of the super chats here, Andy Jarbuck, Notre Dame game simple. Their talent was too much for Pitt. We looked small and slow, particularly on the offensive line. I agree on the offensive line. There's some stuff that you got to look at there. But there's also a case, and again, according to some coaches online, I guess apparently you can't be critical of Cade Bell. Unfortunately, we can hype him up and be very okay with them, but we hear from numerous coaches that are close to Cade. Again, when you're what kills me is about some of these people online is that when you critique someone after a bad game, it's not their fault. It's not the coach's fault. It's the player's fault completely. There's just nothing the coaches did that was completely out of whack. Not the play calling, not the blocking scheme, nothing. I mean, there's just nothing wrong. It's always the players. And I know, for instance, I know that the one coach who's very close to Cade Bell, who was certainly in my comments section all yesterday. Just the offensive line sucks, guys. It's not like, he recruited 2 of the players that were playing yesterday or the whole entire wide receiver room besides Kenny Johnson was playing yesterday. It just kills me that, that some of the people, I don't know. It just really gets to me why it's okay to hype people up, but when you get good to critique people, you're not allowed to do that. But, let bygones be bygones. But when you looked at the game, I thought the Pitt defense did a number of good things. The long touchdown run to Jeremiah Love, one, it was incredibly blocked. I mean, I thought Notre Dame up front did a great job. They got us certainly out of our gaps. Was able to go up the field. Jeremiah Love made 2 great moves. Was able to go for a touchdown. It was a beautiful, really, pump and go pretty much. Then an incredible catches by the Notre Dame's wide receivers. I thought looked really, really good. But overall in the first half, I mean, the defense only gave up 14 points. I mean, the pick 6 was kind of what was pretty deflating in that football game. So, I mean, at the end of the day, I do agree, Andy, that they did have more talent than us. But as we've seen in the past, good coaches are allowed to coach up their players. And when I look at our offensive line, okay, prime example, Ryan Bayer was a 4-star prospect when he committed to Pitt. He actually picked Pitt over Notre Dame. When I watched that game, there's a number of things that really stood out to me, and it's over this whole season. There are a number of players on the offensive line who have regressed. And I've been very critical of Jeremy Darveau. I've not been very satisfied with the way that he coaches. I think the development has been lacking on the offensive line, especially for who Cade Bell has brought in. I think that needs to get better. That's just a fact. You can just tell with it. You can tell the previous year under, really not even the previous year, 2 years ago under Borbley, the recruiting was starting to lack, but you saw the development of a number of players. That was pretty clear. But now when you're looking at this offensive line, some guys have regressed, and I think some guys want to get coached. And when you look at Notre Dame, they get a lot more talent up front, but guess what? They're also being coached very hard, and they're being coached schematically and technically a lot better than what Pitt looked. So in a way, I get it, but also, too, we need to be better in terms of coaching and development on the players on the offense side of the football. Another one here, West Virginia fans and Coos are attacking Pitt fans on X, acting like they're 10-0. The clown Coos even blocked me on YouTube. These people are delusional. Yeah, man, I don't know. I mean, at the end of the day, someone sent me something yesterday and said, like, he went off on his show and called me out on his show and stuff like that. I mean, at the end of the day, it has nothing to do with West Virginia. And to Coos, I like what he does on his channel. But like to act like that West Virginia fans were not in our comments the entire week because College Game Day was here is absolutely ridiculous. Obviously, I went back and watched it because someone told me that he went off on it. I went back and watched it to get clarity because I didn't want to hear anybody else's thoughts. I went back and looked at it. I mean, the guy went off on Twitter and on his YouTube channel. I mean, I can't help that. I mean, the guy was very emotional after another loss. West Virginia is 4-7 on the season. Again, we've talked about it on this show. We do not care what West Virginia is doing. They're not in our conference. We lost the game early on. Good for them. They have the bragging rights. Good for them. We lost. But Pitt moved on. And Pitt is right now 7-3. Like, Pitt's 7-3 right now. West Virginia is 4-7. That's 5 losing seasons in 7 years. And to Coos, I got news for you, buddy. We don't give a shit what West Virginia is doing. We don't need to cope. That's like the new word of West Virginia fans lately is coping. Dog, we don't care. You're in our comments every single day. We do not care. You jumped in my comments on X. It had nothing. The West Virginia fans jumped in my comments.
The only people that, in my opinion, should be going back and forth on that are students that are still at the school. Yeah. I get the friendly banter, right? This goes for all grown men and women at West Virginia and Penn State, jumping into our comments because I've had them jumping into my comments on the Twitters as well, too. And I'm just going to say this, and this goes for Coos. I've never met you. I've never been on your show, and that's fine. It's all good. I'll trust JJ, who says that you do a good job with your show for West Virginia. Take this, save this little part of this clip today, and just keep rerunning it. We don't care. Say all the dumb things you want, all the I told you so's, I told you Notre Dame was going to roll. I told you. Fine. You know what? I was part of a fan and thinking that Pitt could beat Notre Dame. I think they eventually, at the times they could. And I tell you, there was a lot of missed opportunities here. But Notre Dame is a better team. But West Virginia and Penn State, I'm sorry, I don't care. You can run your mouths all you want.
Like
Go
on
find
X,
something else to do. Go find something else to do.
And it's crazy because on X, our conversations are around what Pitt's doing, what they're facing. The amount of comments, I actually thought at one point that like last week, people were laughing because they texted me, they're like, hey, no, like West Virginia has a game this week against Arizona State. I thought that they had an off week because the amount of West Virginia fans that were in our comments, like, don't get mad at us because we hosted game day. That's a great thing for the city of Pittsburgh, our economy here, our university, to show off our university. Yeah. That's great, guys. Like, that's great for us as a school, as a fan base. And guess what? No matter what they say, our fans showed out. The student section was incredible. Me and you were both down there. It was an incredible environment, an incredible place to be. I mean, we were down there at 5:30, 5:45, 6 a.m. in the morning. I mean, it was just an electric day leading up to the game.
And I'd do it all over again.
Yeah. I mean, and then you went into the football game, and it's incredibly electric. I mean, even throughout the game, even when we were losing, I mean, we were still not giving up hope. I mean, I just don't get it. I don't get the obsession. Like, I get if we're in that game or if a Pitt fan starts something with you, I get it. But Penn State is now 4-6 on the season and has one win in the Big Ten. They just beat a 3-6, a winless Big Ten team in Michigan State that's more than likely going to fire their coach too.
Yeah.
West Virginia, you're 4-7. I mean, that's 5 losing seasons in 7 years. How are you more? And then they're like, well, I see the comments from West Virginia people. I'm so glad, by the way, we certainly bring up 13-9 because West Virginia was on the verge of going to a national title the last time they were even relevant in the college football world. We bring up 13-9 because it was a massive game. I mean, the amount of comments from these people is just comical. At the end of the day, I get the banter. But when you have grown men behind, these accounts and they're attacking people the way they look, it's absolutely obscene. I understand there's not a lot of stuff to do in West Virginia. I get it. But you sold out one game this year, guys. It was against Pitt. Okay, you got the bragging rights. Whatever. We don't care. Good. I don't know is West Virginia football going to survive without facing Pitt? I really don't know.
No, and the last thing I'm going to say about this, because I do want to talk about the game and everything, because when I say I don't care, I really, really don't care, is the ones that they're posting about, because everyone wants to go after Pitt for the attendance, and I get, they can't fill up a 70,000 seat stadium every week. But then they come back and say, oh, look, typical attendance. And it's pictures from
10, 15 years ago.
When it's 4 or 5 minutes left in the game and it's a blowout and people have left, and they're saying, go ahead and take a picture during the first quarter when it was a sellout. So that right there just shows you the lack of maturity on it, and it's a waste of all of our time to even talk about
even dwell on it. So at the end of the day, I'm disappointed in Goose. I thought he was smarter than that. It is what it is, right. But you deal with it, I guess. And again, he's emotional about the game that he lost, and then he's jumping in the Pitt stuff. Whatever, man. God bless him, I guess.
Have fun.
Brian Thompson here. Let's face it, Pitt is in a rebuild offensively since KP left, and we got Signetti. Year 3 with Whipple, it all clicked. Maybe this year is the bridge year. It's a good point here. Maybe you go into this offseason where you get a number of different things. Obviously, our NIL. A lot of stuff with our NIL and our revenue share has been taking off this year. We're certainly breaking records. We've already fundraised more money this year than we did all of last year. So that's over $25 million at least. At the end of the day, Pitt's on a trajectory of what it needs to do. The question is it under Narduzzi? Is it not? What does it look like in these next 2 games? Does this team rebound? I think this team does rebound. Again, was Narduzzi's comments dumb as hell in the beginning of the year? In the beginning of the week? Yes. And again, some people did send me stuff from some Pittsburgh media members that just were tweeting out, well, this game doesn't matter to Pitt. They wonder why that people don't like the local media here. And it kind of led me to why I do this show. I really don't get it. I really don't. And it's like how can I dunk on Pitt? And then if they won that game, they'd have been silent as hell. At the end of the day, Pitt's 7-3. And guess what? I'll be at that game. I'm looking to potentially still go to Georgia Tech. We'll see. But I will certainly be at the game at home when Miami's there. They're 7-3. You get an opportunity here. 2 ranked teams, Georgia Tech and Miami. They're going to be tough fucking teams. Yep. I can tell you that. Tough physical teams. We'll see how they go. But, to Brian's point here, it's a good point. You got the guys that you need at the quarterback position. I believe in Mason. People who are just saying, well, he looked average against good opponents. He's a true freshman quarterback, guys. Jesus Christ.
By the way, the Notre Dame quarterback didn't look that great either yesterday.
What the hell?
I will tell you this. I will tell you this about Mason. He looked, I don't want to say nervous, but he looked maybe a tad rattled because on some of the tape, if we're able to get to it, technical difficulties here.
Yeah.
He was on the money on a lot of throws that the receivers let him down. And there was a couple of plays that he was just half a second early on some throws that normally he's hitting. But you know what? That's part of being a true freshman. That's part of growing. My opinions of Mason have not changed whatsoever from the first 5 games that he has played. I thought he held himself up pretty well considering he was under duress a lot. He did make some bad throws, but he also had some throws that his teammates let him down. But guess what? Yeah. That's football. Drops happen. A bad ball happens. Missed opportunities happen. And it kind of all happened for Pitt's offense yesterday. But I'm not discouraged at all about the game because the scoreboard says blowout, but there was a lot of opportunities there that would have said otherwise.
I agree. And to Brian's point here again, I think that one, there are going to be some things that need to change. I think that there's still ways Cade Bell could be better, especially in terms of the run game, establishing some type of a run game that you have to have. You can't just be throwing the football all the time. But even just schematically, how they're able to block in the offensive line, there have been a number of people that have brought that to my attention. I've also seen it from numerous broadcasts where they've talked about potentially there are some issues up front with schematically when it comes to the run game in terms of the blocking scheme. We'll be able to look at that as well. But hey, to Brian's point, this could be a bridge here. But regardless, they're 7-3 right now. I mean, like what they've been able to achieve so far, with still 2 games to go, and you're still on the road to potentially going to Charlotte is impressive. I mean, guys, they lost to a top 10 team yesterday. Okay, It was 37-15. It was a close game until a little bit after halftime. I mean, like, okay, cool. Regardless, does Pitt still need to win those games? Yes. We don't believe on this show, and especially on Eric's show, we don't believe in moral losses, like moral victories. I'm sorry, we just don't believe in it, and we're looking to here to win games. So, am I disappointed in how Pitt played yesterday? 110%. I would never be happy about a 4-7 season, and hey, at least we beat West Virginia. I guess. I mean, I guess that's the new standard. I guess. I mean, for some schools, who knows? But that's not what we're doing here. Will JJHP, thank you, sir, for the $10 super chat. Bell's obsession with small skill players has to end. The lack of having a power back and bigger, taller receivers was apparent yesterday. Got to compliment our speedy skill with size and power. I agree. And God forbid we bring that up as well. God forbid. To me, I've seen this stuff where you start having conversations about, the potential size issues, And to me, if you can't have bigger receivers or bigger backs in your offense, I think there's something schematically wrong with your offense. I mean, let's just be honest. I mean, you look across the board. Also, too, yesterday, Texas A&M. I mean, I don't know if you saw this, Eric. Texas A&M had to come back to win against 3-8 South Carolina yesterday.
I saw that. I looked at my phone at halftime and a little bit through the third quarter. I'm like, holy crap. They're getting boat raced 30-3 by South Carolina. I was like, wow. To their credit, they came back.
Yeah. So, I mean, you look across the board yesterday, games can be close. There's potential games where guys and teams lose. We've seen them in Indiana across the board. It was a really good opponent for Pitt. Again, a missed opportunity for them to take that next step, but I think that has to go with a lot of other people. But to your point here, Will, yeah, I think they need to. I think they really do. And I talked about this early on in the season. I would have liked to see at least one bigger back. I thought Derek Davis could have been that guy. Obviously he's out medical red shirt here this year. I would have liked to seen that, but I agree. I would like to see a couple bigger players here and there. Now in the recruiting class, you'll see some bigger guys. There are a couple other big wide receivers that they've gotten. I think they'll try to add that in the portal. They've also got a couple running backs coming in that are a little bit bigger. One's smaller, one's a little bigger. So, I mean, at the end of the day, they do have that. But I agree with you. There has to be some adaptation to this. And I think, again, they've beaten teams where they're supposed to beat them, which has been a really good thing, since Mason Heinzel took over, but to a number of different points, I agree. I would like to see a bigger running back. We've always been a really good school with larger running backs, man. A number of guys, whether it's Darren Hall, Quadriolison, James Conner. I mean, you saw all those for a number of how many years? 4, 5, 6 years right there. Even back in the day, Hayward, Tony Dorsett. I mean, you saw bigger guys in those formations. I mean, it doesn't matter. It never fails. The bigger backs, at least they have their purpose there. So you want to be able to rotate that in there. Maybe he has a different say in that schematically or philosophically. So that's the way he runs his offense. But I would like to see one bigger back. I agree.
Yeah, and you know what? And I was really surprised, and to build off his comments as well. And it's Mike. We've gone back and forth this year of saying that OC got to go, then you got to give him credit. And yesterday, I think, was a microcosm of both because I thought he schemed up a few things. Yeah, exactly. This is their refusing to put other teams' screens. When they got in that 1st and goal goal to go. I think it was I think they were down 14-3 or it might have been 21-3. Is the drive or then where they got the pass interference on 4th and goal with KJ. They're in there. Why aren't you just running the ball a few times? Goff, I think, is strong enough. It might not be Desmond Reed, but he's quick, right?
Yeah.
I think Bruzy could do it. I mean, Goff, it's really a mindset on there. Just pound it in there. When you're playing a team like Notre Dame that likes to hit you in the mouth, and they do a very good job of doing that, you want to do that as a tone setter. Like I literally, I think the guys on the field heard me whenever I saw that jet sweep. With AJ on there. I'm like, what the hell are you guys doing? Don't get to Cade Bell does get a little too cute at times, especially in these short yardage things where, it's short yardage goal to go, and he wants to get cute with some of the schematic plays, some other things like that. Where you know what, I'm just going to line up 3 times in a row, and if you fail, you fail, but you haven't failed yet because you haven't tried. 3 times in a row, it's an attitude setter. And you know what it does? It does give those linemen a little bit of moxie, a little bit of confidence because they love to run block versus pass block.
Yeah.
And it gets them in a rhythm too. And that's the one thing I don't like what K-Bell does is when he's inside the 5-yard line, he still wants to run all this crazy motion and things like that, which sometimes it works. There's other times, man, shortest point is point A to point B is a straight line. Just power that sumbitch right in the end zone.
I agree. And to your point, Carr was 21 of 32, had only 212 yards passing, 2 TDs, 2 interceptions. He threw more interceptions than Mason Heinschel, threw more TDs than Mason Heinschel. But that was apparent. I thought the defense did a good enough job because even at halftime, it was 21-3 at halftime, and only 14 of those points were from the defense. The one pick six was there, which was pretty deflating at the time. In the third quarter, Notre Dame only had 9 points. In the second half, they had 17 points overall in the second half. Just the offense was not there to stay on the field. And how many 3-and-outs did we have? So there were times that obviously, too, in this game, for people that didn't see it, I did tweet it out. Sean Fitzsimmons did not play in this game. So clearly he had an injury. Trey Butowski, that didn't end up hurting Pitt at all, with the kicking situation. I can tell you this, in the stadium, and Eric obviously being in there, I'll tell you what, man. When Notre Dame, I remember when we turned the ball over, which obviously, too, the drop by Raphael Poppy Williams was devastating. I mean, the pass was right there. I mean, it was a great pass by Mason Heinschel. I mean, you got eventually, dude, you got to catch the ball. You know what I mean? It's right there. It's not like someone wasn't even in his face. You got to catch the football. But overall, even on that drive, even when we went for it, personally, me, would I have went for it? I understand what they're trying to do. They did it against Florida State going for it. I'd actually like to see a punt so where we're not killing the field position game. I'd like to see a punt, but hey, you can't complain about a coach being aggressive. I will never bitch and complain about when a coach is confident in his football team and says, hey, we're in a top 10 matchup. We want to go after it and we want to be aggressive. I'll never complain about that. So I had no problem with it. I just think that there were times where the offensive line actually did a good job. They had enough time in there where Mason did have 3 or 4 seconds. But guess what? When no one's open down the field and he's got to run for his life, that's not on the kid. I mean, at the end of the day, someone's got to get open. That's just a fact. When everyone's covered, you have 2 guys in the same area. Maybe we need to look at a couple route trees here and there. But overall, if no one's open, you got to run for it, And I just think schematically, give Notre Dame props. Notre Dame played a really good game. And I agree with them being where they are now, man, and watching them in person, and to the comment, the super chat before, they do have bigger guys. And I do agree with that. I think it is important to get bigger guys, man. Raphael Poppy Williams has done a great job throughout this year. He just did not play well. They went to him a couple times, didn't work out. But overall, when Notre Dame with the football back, it was 4th down. They went for a field goal. When they missed that field goal, that place was like shaking. It was unbelievable how loud it was in that stadium. It was just, again, it just sucks. It was a great atmosphere overall. It was so much fun. The banter back and forth was awesome. But Notre Dame was just victorious and a lot better of a coach football team too. Feinbaum said ND looks like a serious natty contender. I completely agree with that. I'm just being honest. You watch that game, they did a great job, man. You got to give credit sometimes, And Eric, you've done it. We don't give the bullshit here. We're going to be critical of certain coaches or certain players. It's how it is. You can't be flamboyant or just overall a fanboy to certain people. And that's why it was comical to see some of the people coming after me, especially, some of the guys that are down south that say, well, it's not Cade Bell's fault. The team is just not what it is. Pitt's not the pinnacle of college football. Well, if that's the case, man, and you really don't like it that much here, you're certainly able to go somewhere else then. And when I put that comment out there, all of a sudden it's like, well, now you want him to get fired. Well, you know what? When you're putting it out there that if James Franklin gets the job at Florida and then there's a potential chance that Cade Bell goes to Florida, I mean, if we're looking at jobs in the middle of the year, I think that's a little unethical, in my opinion. I mean, it is what it is. But another Wombat here. How they carry on after this loss is going to be telling. The loss sucks, but there are still 2 extremely important games left. Need to move on quick. And this is a great segue, Eric. When you look at the team, and again, unfortunately, it sucks because you had some great videos in here. It's loading on my phone. If anybody else noticed on X, you have to type in a code now to your I don't know if you noticed, Eric. Get the type of code in your
to look at Twitter on the web, like on your computer? on your computer, but like also to your messages, like your direct messages. You have to put in a code. I guess for some reason it's not updating on my computer, so I can't look at it. We are going to save those tapes because I think that you had a lot of good ones in there. That sucks too. You had some really good videos in there too. But I mean, regardless, going over into this game, there's a lot of things that need corrected. I mean, and when you look at the tape, some of them you just can't correct because obviously there's a lot more talent by Notre Dame. It is what it is. But I still believe in the players that are there. We've done it how many times in the past where we've had the same amount of players and we win those big games. Coaches, guess what? At the end of the day, coaches need to be better too. I love how coaches help the coaching fraternity where, it's not the coach's fault. Well, you know what? There needs to be better development. And I've said that up front about that, especially Jeremy Darbo as well. And obviously, that's a whole nother discussion. But regardless, these next 2 games, Eric, going into, as we hit the halfway mark of the show here, the 30 minutes, you look at the next game upcoming, Georgia Tech. When you look at this football team, in your opinion, Eric, and you look at this team, do you believe in the area where Pitt is right now, how do you think Pitt responds? I'll give my thoughts after, but how do you think Pitt responds after a loss like this at home? Yeah, it's Notre Dame game. And again, there were a lot of plays left on the field by Pitt, but let's just say when you get blown out like that, we'll just call it 37-9, the garbage touchdown at the end. At times as a coach and as players, you just throw that tape away. It is what it is because now you have to refocus on what Georgia Tech does because Georgia Tech's offense is so different. And, Georgia Tech does not have Malachi. They don't have Jeremiah Love, although they're very good, a good running team. So you have to just start over. How do they come out? Are they still going to be physical? Are they still going to pursue on defense? With on offense, is Mason just continue to do that controlled passing game. Throw that game out the window and talk about Notre Dame, and just move on with Georgia Tech. If they come out and they're going blow for blow with Georgia Tech, or, if they were able to pull ahead or something like that, look maybe the first quarter and a half. Because Georgia Tech had us pull one out of their rear ends against Boston College yesterday. They almost lost that game. So they're going to look to be refocused as well. So I fully expect Pitt to come out and be Pitt in the last 6 games with Mason. I don't think it's going to be any different.
Yeah, I agree. And again, guys, this is just a reminder. Obviously, I've been looking at the super chats. Obviously, there's a number of super chats are coming. I can't get to all the comments, but if you are in the comment section, one, it's respectful banter back and forth. The Notre Dame fans that are in here, Eric and I had done a great job of just saying how good of a game Notre Dame has had. Some of these Notre Dame fans in here, man, and we met a ton of them yesterday, were extremely disrespectful to not just the Pitt fans, but also to young kids. I saw it personally. So, you guys can do what you want. You guys won the game. It is what it is. But the majority of these Notre Dame fans who didn't even go to Notre Dame, I mean, you really are living up to the name of Notre Dame people, man. I mean, the level of disrespect here. If I see it in here, I can block you on here. It's just a fact.
Yeah,
Sid
I
Irish.
did. Okay, when Notre
Yeah,
Dame lost to NIU, Freeman played the tape on loop all week. Good for him.
yeah, yeah. Sid Irish. Sorry, bud, you're gone. That's just not going to be said here. Some of the stuff there.
Yep.
Appreciate this comment here. Notre Dame fan here. You had a true freshman quarterback. That is the best defense he will see. Also, Notre Dame has the best 1-2 punch at running back. Nothing to be ashamed of. I agree. At the end of the
I
day,
agree.
we don't have moral victories here. I can promise you that. We need to get better. But that's a fact. I appreciate it. I mean, Notre Dame's a good football team. I mean, we've said that here how many times on this show?
Yep. I've said it. Like I said, I thought they were a top 3 team. I've said that since probably mid-season. Just going by my eyeball test. Notre Dame, Texas A&M, and Ohio State to me are the 3 best teams.
I agree. Yeah, some of the comments in here are wild.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, to some of these fans in here, I mean, to the one here that's obviously the banter back and forth between me and Mountaineer Paul. Yeah, Mountaineer Paul has me blocked on X because, one, he was spewing absolute BS. I mean, his own fan base absolutely hates him because he posted a player's parents' number online. That's absolutely disgusting. I mean, he posted a picture on the show. I mean, that's absolutely ridiculous. I mean, you don't ever do that. That is extremely weird. And on top of that, a guy that is extremely sensitive as he is, that's beyond blatant. And he was called out, and I saw all the comments on X and all the pictures and stuff. You don't ever do that. That's extremely weird. Like Penn State fans do that kind of stuff. We don't do that. We're not here to dox people. That's disgusting. And again, you're dipping into legal stuff right there. We don't ever do that shit. I don't ever want to see that in our comment section or anywhere else, or you'll be banned. I don't ever want to see that.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Let's see here. Subway alum showing their insecurity. Yeah. Eric has said that they play like the best team in the country and none of the regulars here are balked at that statement. Yeah, I disagree. I agree with that. Matthew Good, disappointed in Coach Narduzzi for making the comment at the beginning of the week, and the result yesterday doesn't help Pitt fans with trash talk online. Yeah, I mean, we don't care about the trash talk stuff online. I mean, it is what it is. But the comment that he said, the comment Narduzzi said during the week was just idiotic. I mean, the beginning of the week. I understand what he was trying to do, and I think Eric, you may understand that too. For a guy that played at a high level, you're trying to take the pressure off of your true freshman quarterback and everything. He could have just said, "Hey, we play," and you had a great statement, by the way, on this. Hey, every game's a big game because obviously everyone knows it's a big game. And then that comment, it was taken out of context to where they said the last 2 games overall were like, I think for Pitt against Notre Dame was like 110 to like 13 or something. And he's like, he goes with this outlandish comment that, pretty much was led into. But regardless, all he had to say was, it's a big game. Every game's a big game, which it is. Because I talked to the players in the locker room. I mean, they've said it numerous times. Every game, it's a 1-game season. Every game's massive. We didn't look down on Notre Dame. We looked up at Notre Dame. We're like, okay, this team's really, really good. So it is what it is. It's disappointing how we handle that. And again, for us Pitt fans, we're not abnormally like not used to it. He says dumb shit normally. I hate to say that, but I mean he just does honestly all the time. I've never seen a coach who was just so blatantly bad at media. I mean, it's just like he's trying to do the team the right thing, but only makes it worse. It's like, dude, just stop talking. Just please. And again, Narduzzi, older guy, that just some stuff comes out. And Eric, you had a great, comment on this earlier. I'll let you comment on it now.
Oh yeah, no. I was thinking. I mean, what I'm looking at it though too is, if everybody wants to see what I put on there, like what I would have said, if I was Coach Narduzzi. But there's times where, and I even heard this on Danny Cannell say this as well about Bowden, that and I've heard a lot of coaches, and again, when I played, we didn't get much media as well too, because we aren't, not like Pitt, Penn State, that kind of at that level. However, coaches will go in a lot of times and saying, "Listen, I'm going to say this to the media, but ignore it. I'm just doing something to not to say throw them off, but like you said, I mean, I think his intentions were good. It's just that the choice of words were bad." And there are coaches many, many times. Listen, I'm going to say this, but I really mean this. Or they're saying comments to the media, but they're actually talking to the players in the locker room. No, I don't think Narduzzi was doing that. Narduzzi just, in my opinion, took a very, very bad approach of trying to deflect the pressure. But that being said, he could have read some type of motivational speech, and if it still ended up being the same results, is what it is. It just, I think, it's gotten a little bit too much press because of the negativity in the sports media in this town.
Yeah.
But is what it is. I guarantee you the players didn't relax because of what he said.
Yeah, exactly. And
Guarantee
I thought
it.
also, too, Bob Pompiani, who is truly one of the best in this city. And thank God we still have Bob. Bob Pompiani is truly one of the best. I think Doran Dickerson does a great job. I even think Adam Crowley does a great job. I miss the days of Albie Oxenreiter, to be honest with you. Ox on Fox was always awesome. He just was incredible at his job. But it didn't affect the team in any certain way. I know that for a fact. But again, it was just a stupid statement. It's just what it was. But going into this game, I know a lot of stuff going on in the comment section. Pitt fan held a Pitt. Thank you so much for coming over, man. It was so great to meet you and to meet your whole family, man. It was obviously cool. Obviously, we're going back and forth, meeting a bunch of people there. The good thing is, though, for Miami, I'm hoping to have, if he's not busy, Eric, come to the next game with us again, and then hopefully do a tailgate there. We can take pictures with a bunch of people because you guys love Eric. I mean, the amount of people, Eric, you talked about yourself. Look at your tailgate, brother. People came up to you because, one, you do such a phenomenal job on here breaking down tape, but obviously, too, your easy demeanor. People were able to walk up to you, brother. And again, Pitt fan had a Pitt. It was so great to meet you and your family, man. Beyond proud. Cannot thank you enough. Also, yeah, Richie Walsh is good too. Thank you for that.
Yeah,
didn't want to miss that too. But just want to thank you so much, man, for coming up. I mean, the amount of people too, man. Doing this pod is so much fun to meet like great people. It has been truly phenomenal. And just to have so many people back and forth. I mean, I'm just like, especially too in the lot over there, the gravel lot. It was just so cool to meet so many of you. And there's still thousands of you to meet still. Again, I think this summer I'm going to work with my sponsors. Bill and Brian truly are the best of the best. We're going to do something potentially to where we have a huge setup at Permanis, maybe over in South Fayette. I know I tried talking about it last year. Didn't have enough time to do it, but I feel like having myself, Harry, Eric, everybody show up there with the sponsors. It would be really, really good just to meet everybody. And one, just say thank you. I mean, that's kind of the biggest thing for me. To the Pitt fans in here, I know West Virginia fans in the comment section, just got, you got to let some stuff go. Steven, if you go 7-5, do you fire dues? We'll talk about that more. I mean, I would think it would be on the table.
Let's get there first.
I'm gonna,
2 games left.
But yeah, to Eric's point, before we get to that, make sure it actually happens first. I mean, we'll see what it looks like. But I mean, obviously, I know you're a Penn State fan, so you're probably hoping for that. I mean, at the end of the day, whatever, cool.
Yeah, just do your thing. Yeah.
So make sure I'm not missing another super chat here. We're good to go there. But going into this Georgia Tech game, Eric, we again, sorry, I got to figure out what the hell's going on with my Twitter. I know it because it's that new lock system on there. I don't know what's going on with it. I'll figure it out. We'll do a live stream maybe later on. Or good thing is we'll go on to your show on Thursday or something like that, and we'll talk a little bit more about it before the Georgia Tech game. But regardless, you go into this game, Georgia Tech. When you look at the standings right now, Pitt is 7-3. In the ACC, Georgia Tech is at the top of the ACC, 9-1 overall, 6-1 in the conference. Virginia, 9-2 overall, 6-1 in the conference. Pitt, 5-1, 7-3. SMU, 5-1, 7-3. Miami, 4-2. Duke did lose. They're now 5-5 on the season, 4-2 in the ACC. Louisville, unfortunately, suffered a loss to Clemson. Tough game to lose there. Duke lost to Virginia pretty handily. Virginia is certainly getting better as the season goes on. Chandler Morris has really turned up for Virginia. But when you look at this Georgia Tech team at the top, if you can win this football game right here and have a head-to-head win over Georgia Tech, this would get you into, officially for sure, into the ACC championship game if you win out. Pitt is truly it's really in its own way, in its own destiny. If they win out, they'll have it in there. It's a really good thing overall.
I think Duke losing, although them losing to Virginia was not a shock. You expect it to happen, but Duke losing it saved the ACC from any type of possible shenanigans of Duke somehow getting hot and getting into the title game and representing them in the playoffs. Thank God that didn't happen.
Yeah, and to the Sith Lord, obviously a Notre Dame fan, one of the creepy ones. Yeah, we were all still there at halftime, buddy. I mean, we were all still there. I was there till the clock hit 0. So, say what you want, bud. I get it. Don't worry. You'll get into a big game with like Notre Dame usually does and loses. So good luck with that, bud. The Sharks versus Haynes King should be a great matchup. I wanted to talk a little bit more about this. I thought the defense, again, did a lot better than what the score predicted because of just how much they were on the field. But there were times that the Sharks kind of struggled a little bit. Were a little bit, especially in the back end, where especially in the run game, you saw a little bit of back and forth there. I thought they kind of got pushed around here and there a little bit, but they really bounced back well later in the portion of the game. Again, I think this is going to be a really good matchup, the Sharks versus Haynes King. Good quarterback. Again, the big thing about Georgia Tech, they want to run the football. I mean, it's now back-to-back weeks. You're going to be wanting to see them run the football. And it's on their home turf. I guarantee down there it's going to be an electric atmosphere. I've been to that stadium before, a very cool stadium. Right in there, and their campus is right in the city of Atlanta. A lot like, I mean, they're actually even closer to the city of Atlanta because they're just right there. Like, all you do is take a bridge, and you're right there in the city of Atlanta. Very cool campus, to say the least. I'm not going to lie. I thought it was pretty cool, and especially, too, to see their baseball stadium. But we'll get into more of the matchup stuff later on. But as we wrap up the show here, Eric, I mean, in your opinion, one, I do think Pitt responds back until I see otherwise. We saw them, go 2-0. They lost 2 games in a row. They lost to Louisville. They lost to West Virginia, but they went on a 5-game streak. They lose this game to a top 10 opponent. I think that even though it was a major hype game, it was a lot of, energy, a lot of emotions in this game. I think that this football team, because of just how and knowing who they are, I think they go back in the film room, look to correct a lot of stuff that's going on, and really, and it does make the corrections. I think that this game against Georgia Tech is going to be close. I don't know who will pick yet to win. Got to see the injury list. Got to see the injury list. Got to see who's going to play for us. The Desmond Reed injury, he looked like he was still on the sidelines, and he looked like he came back in for a couple plays, but I'm not sure how much. We'll see how healthy he is. We'll see what this team does. I still have a lot of faith in this football team, what it does. Hey, it's a loss. It's a big loss, I think, because one, it is Notre Dame. It is a hyped up game, which obviously we love to see. But this is where you find out who you are as a football team. This is where you find out how many leaders do you have on your football team. You're 7-3. You're 6-1 in conference. Am I mistaken? Or 5-1 in conference? I'll see here. 5-1 in conference. I'm sorry. 5-1 in conference. You still have everything on the line. I think Pitt gets back into the film room and figures out what they need to do. If anything, I think it's good to put this on tape to see where you are. I think Brian had a good comment that this is a build-up year. It's the second year of Cade Bell. He needs to get into the portal and look at a bunch of guys in the offensive front. I think Pitt needs to get in the portal with the defensive line and gets after some edge rushers. Jaden Moore played yesterday, but he had a huge cast on his left hand, so he clearly hurt his hand in the Stanford game. Got to find a consistent running game. Eric, as they go into this game, what are some of the things, I think maybe like 1 or 2 things going into this game early on here as we get early into the week? What are 2 things you want to see Pitt correct from this game going into the Georgia Tech game, whether it's on offense, on defense, offensive line, run game? What are 2 things or even 1 thing you want to see that would actually really help out this football team?
In reality, it's just getting back to the basics, honestly. Again, because of the amount of drops that especially early, the amount of plays that were just off by this much, you know what I mean? That in the previous 5 weeks leading up to Notre Dame, that they made those plays. I get the competition level, but they're still Power 4 teams that they're playing. You get back and you get back to that. You get back to that controlled passing game because I saw a comment in here too, which. I can't remember who did it because I think it's scrolled past. They made a very good point that Georgia Tech's defense is not necessarily a top tier level defense. They can make some plays, don't get me wrong, but they've had some vulnerabilities against the pass and against the run. So I do think Pitt can surely bounce back offensively, and give that defense a little bit of rest, or you're putting pressure on Georgia Tech's offense, to play catch up. Haynes King is somebody I absolutely enjoy watching play. The kid is an absolute baller.
Physical kid, physical.
He's gritty. I mean, he's everything that you want. And I mean, he's not the best thrower in the world, but as far as what's in here, right here, what's in his heart, he's the type of quarterback you want. Now, that being said, with the way the Sharks and everybody else fly around to the football, I think Pitt can match up very well against Georgia Tech, because this is like where the styles at times can have a natural advantage. But in this for Pitt, I think the styles are perfect for Pitt in the way they play defense. And I do think you tackle well and back to basics on offense. And we'll talk more about that this week. They do those two things, I think they're going to be fine.
I think once I fix the stuff here on the computer and in terms of the especially stuff with Twitter, we'll look at your film stuff, because I think you put some really good stuff on there that fans would love to see here. But to your point, for Georgia Tech, obviously they just squeaked by Boston College 36-34. They lost to NC State 2 weeks ago, 48-36. So to your point, the defense is struggling. So there's something able to be there that you can show, hey, there's a technical bounce back that you could really watch there. Obviously, Georgia Tech just got by Boston College. I mean, heck, Notre Dame struggled with Boston College. Halfway through the third quarter, it was 12-10 Notre Dame. Which also is why I don't give Pitt a pass on, how it struggled offensively, even with facing Notre Dame, because Boston College, who is at the bottom of the ACC, was able to compete very well with a team like with a team like Notre Dame. So good coaches find good ways to put good schematics out there and get competitive in games. So I think that's a number one thing there. This matchup will be really good. Again, we bludgeoned NC State matchup wise. They lost 48-36. This is going to be a fun matchup. It's going to be at home at Georgia Tech. It will not be easy, this game. Georgia Tech by no means is an easy football team. They're ranked for a reason. Notre Dame comment here. Notre Dame fan here. You guys got a QB definitely for the future. Kids player and hard to bring down. And Notre Dame easily could have had 10 sacks potentially there. I mean, holding on to the football maybe a little bit too long, but also too, I think he is a really good quarterback. And I think you look at the arm strength, and I mean, especially too on a number of throws, Mason's got a really strong arm, and I really do believe in him. I really do. People making the comment, like, well, it was against a top 10 team, he didn't perform. He's a true freshman. I mean, for Christ's sake. I mean, he's played 6 games. I mean, like, Jesus. And CJ Carr was facing a team where he's played, 9 games now? He's got 3 more games under his belt. And he didn't look great. He threw more interceptions than Mason did. So at the end of the day, I appreciate the comment from Notre Dame fan here. Respectful one. I appreciate that. We do believe we have that guy. We believe we got him locked up for next year as well.
And I think Notre Dame has their guy too.
Yeah. And CJ Carr
struggled yesterday, but he's still good. He's still a very, very good quarterback.
I agree. And he's only going to get better with time and with more experience. Both these quarterbacks are. And it'll be exciting to see these guys down the line. But overall, I think that Pitt is going to be able to bounce back from this game. I think it's going to be another year where you're able to bounce back, finish strong this year, and then be able to go into the portal and everything else this year. Pitt's got a really good class coming in. They're not done adding to that class. We'll see with the Matt Sieg dilemma. People asking in the comment section about Matt Sieg. I will say this, the longer it goes on, the more I feign and wane on it. Because one, usually if you're waiting to make a decision, it's usually not good for your school. It looks very much between Indiana, Notre Dame, West Virginia, and us. We'll see what happens. The longer it goes on, we'll see. But at the end of the day, we are sitting here on November 16th. Signing day is on December 3rd. So we're less than a month away. So a decision will come pretty soon, maybe even on signing day is when Matt Sieg will make his decision. Obviously, a 4-star prospect who's very much on the fence, more than likely leaving the Penn State class. Penn State has been, by the way, decimated by their recruiting class. I mean, you look at like for instance, you look at the other schools. Like I think there was a chart up recently about other schools who have lost commitments. Florida, and then who's the other one that's up there? Big school, Arkansas. Even Arkansas's class is still staying together. Penn State has lost 14 commitments from their class. I mean, it's falling apart pretty quickly, and more to come. But overall, I would think Matt Sieg will probably leave that commitment list and then go to the other schools that he has on there. But he was at the game this weekend. Talked about how he loved the environment, everything else that was there. Talked about being a key piece to what Pitt wants to do in the future. But I can tell you this right now. Going into this week, this is a big-time, very big-time coaching job by Pat Narduzzi, and I'm going to be grading him very harsh. Again, I give flowers to coaches who deserve it. I did it this year. I'm also very critical of them. And I think this is a big, massive coaching dilemma with that they're in. I want to see how Pat Narduzzi responds from some of the stupid shit he did this previous week. It's a big game going into Georgia Tech. We'll see what this team looks like going forward, and then we'll adjust and see and really grade this coaching staff and Pat Narduzzi at the end of the year. Gary, who's up in our section, I appreciate you, brother. I just don't understand why many fan bases are obsessed with Pitt. I agree with Eric. I just don't care. A lot of people I saw in ND gear couldn't find Indiana on a U.S. map with the state's label. Dude, I couldn't agree more. There were some very disrespectful ones. There were some that were just, I talked to a couple of my friends that were there, especially ones that have kids that brought kids to the game. A couple of friends who were out of town who got tickets for this game, Pitt fans. And they just said, man, like I never in a million years would I have thought Notre Dame fans would have been that arrogant, that controversial. It is to Gary's point, it's just trying to find a school, I guess, that's very upset about it, SMU Nation, I see a couple comments there. Yeah, I mean, I'd be upset too. At the end of the day, we know what he meant, but yeah, trust me, we were upset as well. But he didn't mean that they would enjoy losing 100 points. Again, I told that to numerous people. I mean, if you actually turn your brain on for a couple seconds, you'd know. Obviously, no coach would ever think that.
Yeah, and I understand that comment as well too. But this is one where you
just can't say it.
Trust me when I say it's completely different talk once inside that locker room, within the team, within the meeting rooms. Completely different, but I understand the fans' perspective and why he said that, and we all agree it was not a smart comment.
Franklin is in talks with Virginia Tech. Do you think a lot of Penn State recruits fall into Blacksburg? First off, this has been the funniest thing to watch because Jimmy Sexton is James Franklin's agent. He is squeezing every bit of resource out of Virginia Tech. He's been in talks by Virginia Tech fans. He's been in talks with Virginia Tech for the last 2 weeks. I got news for Virginia Tech fans. He's definitely the leading guy there. They want him badly. But guess what? If he really wanted to go there, he would have already signed there. He is clearly looking at other SEC jobs. I mean, it's very clear. If he doesn't get those jobs, then he'll take more than likely the Virginia Tech job. But I mean, that has been going on for weeks. And I mean, he is toying so bad with Virginia Tech. It's almost like a begging to this point. I mean, if he's going to play games with you that much, I mean, I don't know why you just don't go in another direction, because what that tells me is if he signs with you guys and another big job that he wants opens up, then he's going to leave. So I don't know why you would want that guy. So although, I get why they would want him. Virginia Tech's been down so badly. They've been a really bad football program for really, the last 10 plus years. I think personally, James Franklin would do good there, but we'll see. We'll see what he does. Virginia Tech is getting played, in my opinion. I agree, Will. We'll see what happens.
He would at least bring Virginia Tech back to respectability, at least, just because of how well he recruits.
I believe so too. And recruiting the Virginia and the state of Virginia, which he's always done a good job. I think a number of Penn State people would fall into Virginia Tech. I do believe that. The question that I want to know, if James Franklin's hired, if he's hired at Virginia Tech, does he hire Virginia Tech's fired head football coach Brent Pry to be his D coordinator? Because that was his D coordinator at Penn State. So that would be the funniest thing in the world if Brent Pry, who was just fired at Virginia Tech, comes back as defensive coordinator, and then he hires potentially Ricky Ronnie to come be his offensive coordinator at Virginia Tech. I would think that'd be funny as hell.
What does he have with? Does he have any? And I don't want to get too much into James Franklin talk, but I'm just curious if you brought him up. And anybody here in the chat knows, because I don't follow obviously that man because I don't care. Yeah. But he was at the Old Dominion game, as well too. Is there just ties there? Is he an alum there? But what's he doing there? Do you think he's starting to backdoor recruit his staff there? And I don't know if he has any. And again,
so the head football coach there is Ricky Ronnie, who was his offensive coordinator at Penn State. So he's down there supporting Ricky Ronnie, the head football coach who coached for him.
Just supporting him, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he was a coordinator. Yeah. So he's
Okay.
been doing that. He was at the Atlanta Falcons game, so he's probably enjoying himself a little bit. He's probably, if I had to bet, he's
Why
got a
not?
list.
Okay.
He's got a list of coaches probably on his list he would hire. But who knows? He may not even take a job and just take a year off. That wouldn't be bad and going to TV for a little bit.
He's got a couple bucks. He could do that.
Yeah. So I mean, he's certainly not struggling with money. I can tell you that his buyout looks pretty good at $56 million. So, well, I think that's all we got here for tonight. I don't see any more super chats in here, guys. Cannot thank you enough for the super chats. Again, I rely on the super chats because I can't get to all the comments. I mean, there's over like 400 comments in here. Appreciate everyone that's supporting the show, guys. Tough loss for us at Pitt, obviously, but again, great experience. It's a good experience for this football team to see a great team like Notre Dame and a bunch of true freshmen who were playing for Pitt yesterday. It's a young football team. It's a continuing developing football team. It's a good road for them. And it was a good team. And you always love to face a team like Notre Dame, who you can rely on to be, especially in the past, really five to 6, 7 years where they've been consistently good. It's always good to face them because it's a good measuring stick of where you are and how much better you need to get. So we're pretty pumped up about that. But I think Pitt gets back to it this week. We'll see what they do and see how they respond. And I can assure you, myself, Eric, Harry, we will certainly be very critical of them. We'll be able to really grade them and watch the tape. And hopefully here I get my stuff figured out right on here so we can actually break down the tape for you guys and do Eric's breakdown, the segment on the show that everyone loves, Eric's breakdowns. Cannot thank you enough. Eric, thank you, sir, for being here again. As always, before we sign off here, tell them where they can find you on all your socials.
Yeah, man. They on the Twitters at Bird Cave, like on the screen there. Tomorrow's live, we're talking about the Steelers-Bengals game here that just happened, and the all the comments about the spitting and everything and going on has been kind of funny.
Yeah.
It'll be a pretty live show with GB and maybe a few others depending on schedules will come on there, and then we'll play it by ear, JJ, with this week because definitely want to come on and do the film breakdown for the Pitt game, and then we usually go live on Thursdays as well to preview the following game, but maybe we juggle some things around so we can get to the tape breakdowns tonight. But yeah, go on over to the Bird Cave YouTube page, man. Subscribe. Comment everything. I like to see everyone chatting up with the Steelers as well too. And like I said, I appreciate everybody here, and we'll see everybody soon.
Guys, cannot thank you enough for tuning in to another episode of Talking College Football with JJ Kitchen, guys. Appreciate you guys as always. Guys, again, we'll see as we go on during the week. If we go into another live situation here on Wednesday, I can tell you this. I look to be on Eric's show on Thursday. Make sure you watch out for that kind of stuff because obviously you want to tune into that because Eric does a great job on that, and I will certainly be on that this Thursday. David Ruckno, appreciate you. Hail to Pitt. Great to meet you as well. Great pick we got there. Appreciate you at the football game, meeting you personally. So, guys, cannot thank you enough for tuning in to another episode of Talking College Football with JJ Kitchen. From myself and Eric, thank you, guys. It's another Sunday conversation in the books. Enjoy your Sunday. And as always and forever, hail to Pitt. We'll see you guys next time.